Hey guys, this is Kathy and Brian. Welcome to another episode of the Main Street Moments podcast. And today we wanted to talk about the difference between Disney vloggers and Disney live streamers. And we came up with this topic because we were watching somebody on TikTok who will remain unnamed, who was trashing Disney Disney live streamers and saying that they weren't creative, that they had it easy. And there was a lot of bitterness in his voice. And this is somebody we won't mention because they were once a Disney vlogger. I don't know if they still are. I don't follow them anymore. But we did come across their TikTok. And we wanted to talk about vloggers versus streamers.
Yeah.
And we watch both. And this person mentioned in particular certain people, including Resort TV One, as a live streamer, saying that they were not creative. And he sounded like he just didn't agree with what they were doing, that it was not a good way, that when you vlog, it's much more work. You have to edit and really set up your shots, and it's more creative in that sense. So we want to talk about that and kind of take issue, because we've been watching vloggers and live streamers for about 5 years now. And like you guys do. And I think we know who a lot of the people are and what they do.
Yeah.
So we were going to talk about that.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to, we watch both vloggers and live streamers probably equally. And the two top dogs with Disney YouTube, okay, I would say, at least on my radar, is, so far as vloggers, is the Tim Tracker.
Yeah, obviously.
And so far as live streamers, Resort TV One.
Yeah.
Now, there are a lot of other live streamers that we like. That crazy Disney lady.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Lake Buena Visitors. Living in Diz.
Yeah, Living in Diz, absolutely. And there's a whole bunch of others. When we go to the parks, you see a lot of live streamers that are new all the time. You see a lot of vloggers all the time. And people think that live streaming is easy and it's an easy way to get viewers, and it's an easy way to get subs, and
an easier way to make money,
as opposed to vlogging.
Yeah, and that there's no creativity. At least that's what this person said. And I have heard other people. I have heard other people say that. I will say, I have heard that from other people.
Now I do both. I do both vlogging and I do live streaming, and I live stream like 8 to 10 times a week. Sometimes even more.
For your other YouTube channel.
Yeah, I have another.
Not for Disney.
No, not on our Main Street Moments channel, but I have another YouTube channel that's very, very successful, and I live stream there twice a day during the week. Okay, at least minimum, and I also vlog on that channel and add a lot of other content. And it's a channel I do for my work. And vlogging is easier to do big time compared to live streaming. I'll tell you why. And it's simple, okay? When you are live streaming, I love live streaming, by the way. I like vlogging a lot too, but when you're live streaming, one thing I like about it is you have an immediate connection to the viewers, through the chat. But the thing with that is the chat expects you to perform like you're on a stage. And if you're ever in the parks, you may not realize this when you're watching it on YouTube at home or wherever you watch YouTube. When you're at the parks and you see live streamers, they're talking a mile a minute. They've always got to be interacting with
they're interacting with the chat.
Yeah. And they get no rest. In fact, if you watch Resort TV One, and I see this happen a lot with Tanya, that crazy Disney lady, they're at the park all day. They got to go to the bathroom. And they got to hand off or
set their camera in the bushes somewhere.
The stream to someone else, and while they go to the bathroom, and that person's talking. And
even if they sit down to rest and get a drink, if it's hot or whatever, they can't just like put the camera down. I mean, they could and ignore the chat, but the good streamers will sit there and continue to engage and talk.
Well, the viewers don't want you to not talk.
Well, I mean, I've seen some streamers, I won't say who, that do set the camera down to eat.
Yeah, that's not
and
interesting.
They ignore the audience.
People don't like
and
that.
They do that. And
I don't like that.
Well, they do that, and some people don't care. But a lot of streamers will continue to talk, like Tanya when she's like eating or whatever, or drinking, and Josh and them will continue to engage with the audience and keep and continue to communicate.
Yeah, now which
I think is good.
I do a 3-hour radio show every morning, okay, live. And I do live stream when I do that as well. And when I do a 3-hour talk show, people think a lot of times, oh, you got such an easy job. You talk for a living. Well, that's very good. I have a great job. Don't get me wrong. but it's exhausting. And when I get off the air,
Yeah, he's very tired.
I'm like, it's like a ton of bricks fell on me of energy because you got to keep an energy level. The live streamers have to do that.
And think about if you were like Josh or Jenna from Resort TV One, and Josh works a full-time job. He's a teacher. He's like a band director for a high school or something. That is a very involved job when you're like the band director of a school. And he still goes to Disney, and his sister, I think she works too. But they work and they go to the park, and they will stream in 90, 100-degree weather for 5-6 hours. Or the rain at a time. Yeah. And they are talking to their audience the entire time. Now, when you vlog, I'm not saying one is better than the other. I think they both have they're just
pros
different.
and cons.
You're comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah.
But to come out and say, like this person on TikTok, that live streamers are not creative or they don't do anything and it's an easy way, they're wrong. I'm sorry. I don't agree with that at all. And we wanted to talk about that and tell us what you guys think. Vloggers, now you do Disney vlogging. Vlogging has its challenges too. You have to think about what you're going to record. When you live stream, you can just show up. I mean, he's right in that sense. You can show up and just walk through the park and film it, and people will come and watch because they like to feel like they're in the park with you live in the real time.
Yeah.
But don't think it's not creative. I've seen Josh from Resort TV One really think about what he shows his audience, and really he puts a lot of consideration and research time into his equipment.
Yeah.
He really thinks about setting up shots when he's certain places. He'll say, let me give you this angle. Let me give you that. So he's thinking in the moment to give people great shots. And a vlogger does that too, but a vlogger does have to go home and edit, which does take time, and add music, go through footage. That's time consuming. And he's right. When you live stream, you don't do that. You cut it off and you leave and you go home.
The problem...
So they're just different.
The problem with vloggers that they have, the vloggers have a big problem too. In fact, Prince Charming Dev, I don't know, about every 6 months or so, Prince Charming, you guys watch Prince Charming Dev?
He's now PC Dev.
Yeah. PC Dev is what he changed his name to. But you can search Prince Charming Dev. It'll come up on YouTube still. About every 6 months, Prince Charming Dev pours his heart out to his channel about what's going on, and he did this. He did this in the last couple weeks again.
I like that. Yeah. Justin does that too. Justin Scard.
I don't like when they do it every couple of weeks, like Dave K. But when they do it
he does like a life update every week.
But when they do it once or twice a year, I'll watch the whole thing. So I watched.
Adam the Woo does it.
I watched Prince Charming Devs the other day. And he was talking about how his views are down, and some of his vlogger friends are telling them their views are down. These are all Disney vloggers we're talking about. And the biggest difficulty I think that the vloggers have as opposed to live streamers is coming up with new content, because
that's difficult.
I can tell a lot of the vloggers as opposed to the live streamers really have a difficult time coming up with doing something that they haven't done before, they haven't done 10 times before, and that nobody else has done. And that's why sometimes there'll be an event like this weekend, in the last 2 days, they just got the 50th anniversary merch.
Yeah, and the Halloween stuff came in.
Yeah, but they just got the 50th anniversary merch at the Disney store at Disney Springs.
Right.
And all the vloggers are there.
Of course.
And I was watching a couple weeks ago, they had the reopening of that. What's the place at the Polynesian that just reopened, the restaurant bar at the
Ohana.
Ohana just reopened a couple weeks ago. And of course,
in Trader Sam's, they were all there. A lot of them were there too.
So Ohana just reopened in Trader Sam's, and I was watching one of the vloggers there. I can't remember which one it was, but they got a picture of the door waiting for it to open. And there were about a dozen of the vloggers,
That was at Trader Sam's.
Trader Sam's. It was Prince Charming Dev.
Jackie
Super
from
Super Enthused.
Michael K.
Yeah. Michael K.
Paging Mr. Morrow.
Yeah, Paging Mr. Morrow. JoJo. Kyle,
Palo. Yeah, they were all there.
And a bunch of others I didn't even recognize that were vlogging and everything.
They all had their cameras up, ready to go.
Yeah. So what I feel sometimes, obviously we vlog at Disney, and I have my other channel where I live stream, but our Disney channel is like a fun hobby, and a lot of the vloggers, they do it as their primary source of income, and they're in a lot of competition to try to get something new. And when something new happens,
get it up first.
When something new happens, like Trader Sam's, and there's 12, 15, 20 vloggers there on that same day, or the backside of water drink is over in Adventureland at Magic Kingdom and everybody's got it that week, they're under a lot of pressure. And live streamers have a big benefit. They can just go and ride some rides and they got content. So
That's right.
It's easier for live streamers to have content as opposed to the vloggers. But live streaming is not easy. If
I would say live stream, I agree with you. And I remember when we started watching vlogs, there weren't as many vloggers, and we even jumped in the mix. And now there's so many. You're right. When there's something new, like new merch, new decorations, they all get their vlogs up the same day, and it's like a race to who can get it up and gets the most views.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't feel that way because people have their favorites. Like everybody's going to watch the Tim Trackers. He doesn't rush to do anything anymore because he knows people are going to always go to see him. He's the top guy.
Yeah.
But you have your favorites. But there is competition, I think, to be the first or to show it in the best way. And when everybody's doing the same thing, you want to be like, how can I make this different? How can I make my content stand out?
Yeah.
So mentally, I think vlogging is more challenging mentally in that sense, and maybe in that sense of creativity. But live streaming is physically more challenging.
Yes. Yeah.
And mentally can be exhausting in that sense because you're physically walking around, and when you're vlogging, you get a break. You can film, then you can go sit down in the shade and have some water. You can go rest for an hour. You can even leave and come back later. You could do a vlog over 3 days.
Yeah.
When you're live streaming, I've seen live streams that go 10, 12 hours. Even Spokesman has done like 24 hours. And it is very physically, and the whole time you're engaging. So I don't like people trashing live streamers.
And when you're live streaming,
it's not easy to do.
And this happens with live streamers, okay? And this happens. I see this happen with me when I'm live streaming. And I have a lot of people that watch me live. I have pretty big numbers, okay, on my live streams. And sometimes though something will happen, and then like 200, you'll see 200 people just left for some reason, and you don't know why. So you got to say, oh well, I better do something, or I'm going to lose 200 more. So
and it freaks you out. I've seen it happen with Josh, where something will happen, but with him it's usually like a technical issue. And the same thing with you, it's a technical.
That's the worst.
Like you buffer or something.
Oh man, forget about it.
And that's like the worst because a lot of times when you will buffer, you lose a big chunk of your audience or a few hundred people, like you said, and then you're like, oh my gosh. And so it's like stress in the real time,
but
I got to tell you, I really, I haven't walked around with a live streamer. You've walked around with Tanya before, and seen how it works. And a lot of times these live streamers have a group of people with them. Sometimes people will come and follow them and walk with them.
And they got to entertain them too.
They got it. So it is, I'm sure they go home just like, especially when they're walking around when it's hot and humid in Florida. And I'm sure they go home totally. And these are people that have families. They have children. They have to go home and take care of their kids. Like Tanya has 3 kids. Josh has kids and they all have jobs and stuff. And it's physically exhausting. And I would argue that it is creative just in a different way because you could be at the park live streaming and you might be thinking in your mind, okay, where can I go that's different this live stream? What can I do? What can I show people that's different? How can I get a different angle? So it's not like he made it sound like they just walk through the park and do nothing and just go to the park like a regular day and happen to turn on the camera and they make money. I mean, to me, it sounds like a little bitterness, maybe a little jealousy.
A lot of people,
Resort TV One has exploded.
There's a lot of people that go after the Tim Tracker and Resort TV One
because they're the top guys.
And they're and I know there are people that do other things that have maybe more subs than Resort TV One that do vlogging, like some of the news things and DFB Guide and things like this. They have allears.net. They have a lot of subs, but they like Disney Food blog.
Oh yeah, they're
and allears.net. They have channels. Molly from All Ears.
Molly, they're awesome.
They don't seem to be in that mix of competition with a lot of the other vloggers. And I think what's happened with the vloggers,
well, they have a crew too.
Yeah, that's true. And they have such huge followings. They make a lot of money. There's 2 things with the primary vloggers that I think we're talking about. I know there's there's probably a couple hundred vloggers, including us.
We just discovered a live streamer a couple weeks ago. You ran into one at the park, and we had never heard of him. He gave you his card. He's got like 20,000 subs. I'd never seen this guy. He's there every day at Rope Drop. I can't remember his
channel, there's a lot of Spanish speaking vloggers.
There's a lot of ones we haven't even heard
streamers
of yet.
too. But the main crew, there's a main crew of Disney vloggers that do it pretty much for a living. Okay, some of them might have other jobs, but they primary. And I'll list off who I'm thinking if I'm leaving anybody out.
Where it's their main, this is their only career. I could.
Yeah, I'm going to say these are the ones I'm going to say. The ones I watch that this is like Resort TV One. They obviously make very good money. Okay, and they get a lot of super chats during the live stream.
It's like watching a telethon.
And plus, they get paid for the views, and they get a lot of views.
Good for them. They work very hard.
They have other jobs. Like Josh is a school teacher. Jenna has a job, and I'm not going to include the Tim Tracker. I'm going to talk about the ones outside of Resort TV One or the Tim Tracker. Prince Charming Dev, Michael K, Paging Mr. Morrow.
Oh, I thought he had a job.
No, he's got. I'm saying some of them might have second jobs, but the Disney vlogging is either their primary source of income or they're trying to make it to be that. Mm-hmm. Who are some of the others you can think of, Kathy?
Kyle Palo and JoJo. Yeah, that's all they do.
Who have exploded because they have
TikTok.
Yeah, and on YouTube, both JoJo and Kyle Palo have over 80,000 subs.
Yeah, they're
now.
almost up to 100.
Yeah. Who else? Oh, the WDW couple. I know the wife has another job, but
she's a nurse. I think I'm not sure.
Yeah,
what
but
Josh does.
but Josh, this is like his primary thing.
I know he started a videography company in this. I don't even know if he listens to the show, but it's so odd because he makes really good videos. And this was before COVID. And I remember before he started this videography company, I had said to you, I said, Josh should start a business. I don't know Josh from WW Couple. He doesn't know me.
I met him at the park, yeah.
You said he's very nice. Yeah. I said to you, he should start a company where he goes with families to the park and makes videos for them. And didn't I say this about a year before he did it? Mm-hmm. About a year later, he started doing that. Yeah. And I said, oh my gosh, he must be tuned into my head. Great minds think alike. And then he was doing that, and he was going with families to parks and putting together videos, and they were really good. And then COVID happened, and I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah. So and I know there's a lot of I know there are a lot of other vloggers and live streamers other than the ones we mentioned, but the ones we mentioned are kind of like the main group of people that are like either doing vlogging at Disney for a living or trying to.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other great vloggers that we didn't even mention on live streamers too. I understand this, and many that we're sub to and subscribe to and all that stuff. But when someone's doing this for a living or it's a huge chunk of their income and their views are down just a little bit, that's a big hit on what they earn from the ads on the video.
It's a lot of pressure.
And they're under a lot of pressure. And sometimes I'm watching and I'm thinking, oh man, I kind of feel bad for some of the vloggers because so much is not happening at Disney, right? There's no entertainment to speak of. There's really no parades. Even at the
it's not like it was before the pandemic.
Even at the Boo Bash, there was a couple of things, but not real entertainment nor a real parade at the Boo Bash to speak of. There was like these cavalcade things.
Yeah.
There's not a lot going on new at Disney right now to go and capture something that's new, exciting, and unique all the time.
It's not like the Bob Iger days. And I remember we were talking because when Bob Iger was CEO, it seemed like every week there was something new and exciting happening at the parks. And then they had the D23 and they announced all this new stuff coming down the pike. And it was so exciting. And I thought, okay, this will keep people busy for 3 or 4 years. But then I remember I said to you, what are these vloggers going to do when this stuff slows down and there's nothing new to talk about?
Yeah.
And then the pandemic happened, and that's what's been going on. I think things are kind of getting on an uptick now because like our subs are starting to go up and our views are getting a little bit better. I think for a while, though, the pandemic really just halted everybody in their tracks.
Yeah.
And there's not as much growth, not at the rate it was before. Like they're starting to do the Splash Mountain. They said that could take a couple years. I think they're starting to finally work on Epcot. But if it wasn't for the pandemic, a lot of that stuff would be done by now because they were trying to get it done for the 50th. So it really slowed people down. But here's my advice to young vloggers. Okay. And this is something Brian and I are older and wiser, I guess, and something we've learned in life. When it comes to your income, do not put all your eggs in one basket.
No.
You need to have multiple income streams. And if you go and try to make Disney vlogging or live streaming Unless you're married to somebody rich, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But if you are trying to make that your sole source of income, things might be great right now and you might be raking it in, but nothing lasts forever. And it's really important to have a side hustle, as they call it, and a second stream of income that has nothing to do with Disney as a cushion, as a backup. I know that's hard for people to want to do. And a lot of people just want to stream or vlog full time. It's fun, and not have a traditional job. But, take it from an older person. Just don't put all your, like Josh works. And it's important to have a second income because things do slow down and things do happen and that you can't control.
And I'll tell you something too. If people think live streaming is easy as opposed to vlogging, think about this, okay? When you're watching a vlog, what you never see in a vlog is them waiting in line for a ride. And when you're watching
sometimes
they'll show themselves
film.
They'll show themselves in line,
right?
Get how long it is. They'll show something in the queue.
On live streams, you see the line.
If they're in line for 90 minutes or 2 hours on a live stream or 50 minutes, they're in line for the 50 minutes to 2 hours, however long it is.
They have to talk,
and they have to talk to you and keep you interested and keep people watching stream. And when I'm watching a live stream and someone's in a queue for 90 minutes, it's like it fly. I wish the queues flew by as fast when I was in line myself at the parks.
It takes a lot of energy and to do that. So I don't like getting into this comparing in the negative sense.
They're different genres.
It's just different.
Genres.
It's just different. They just happen to be at the same location. But it's like I said, it's comparing apples to oranges. So I don't like people trashing. And Resort TV One, they got some haters. I'm not going to mention the names,
they do.
but they got some haters. Yeah, and so when you're at the top, there's people that want to knock you down. And, I would say to them, obviously you have to ignore the haters. That's how it is. You got to ignore the trolls because they want to knock you down so they could take your place. That's how it works.
Well, think about this.
A lot of these people.
And if you disagree with this, being the top, I'm not saying these are your favorite people, but the top vlogger without question is the Tim Tracker.
As far as Disney goes.
As far as Disney vlogging goes. And the top Disney youth streamer is Resort TV One.
Yeah.
And there's other ones that we watch all the time, but those are the two top ones. And think about this. Everyone, including ourselves, right? Everyone is doing what one of them are doing. And
because of them.
Yeah. And the Tim Tracker was the first one. He was the first Disney
they blazed the trail.
vlogger.
How many people, including us, saw what they were doing and said, you know what, I want to do that. That looks like fun. I mean, how many people have started live streaming?
Yeah.
I could name 3 or 4 because of Josh and Jenna, because what they do, and they look at that. So when you're at the top and then you see these other people starting to do what you do, in a way it's flattering, but at the same time, it's a little... might make you a little nervous at some point because you're like, now I got more
there's a new thing going on now.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a new thing and you're hearing it's so interesting what's going on because I really enjoy watching the Disney vloggers and the live streamers. Right?
We do. We watch them a lot.
I was watching Spokesman this morning. I was watching Tom Does Disney just a few minutes ago before we started the podcast here. We watch all these people, and there are others that come up in the recommendations from time to time that I've never heard of. But I watch them. But the thing about that you hear a lot of the YouTube people are starting to get nervous about is TikTok.
Yeah, and there's people.
Yeah.
Now JoJo Crichton has
JoJo's World.
JoJo's World has been on TikTok pretty much before anybody. He's approaching 1 million subs, our followers, which is a big deal
on TikTok.
And he's been doing that for a while. He even met up with Paula Abdul, and she was in some of his TikToks, which was crazy.
Well, this is okay. I'm glad you mentioned that.
But what I want to say real quick is now in the last month. Now we've had a TikTok for a while, but we just haven't been using it. But I'm starting to post on it now. In the last month, I've seen 4 or 5 major Disney vloggers and live streamers, including Tim Tracker, Resort TV One, Prince Charming Dev, have joined TikTok and are now. Because the Disney company is now going after TikTok influencers over YouTubers, I feel. They're going after the TikTok crowd.
Now JoJo's World, and JoJo used to be a custodian at the Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios.
He was in the college program.
Yeah, and now he's a vlogger and TikToker. He has over 80,000 subs on YouTube. He's approaching 1 million on TikTok.
Yeah.
And this is something I think has flipped out a lot of the vloggers. And I think this is why Prince Charming Dev had this pouring out of his heart on his YouTube channel recently, okay? JoJo's World. You got to check out JoJo's World. You know what I'm talking about. He has just exploded out of nowhere all of a sudden. And he did a vlog about a month ago where he was at the park with Paula Abdul.
Yeah.
And
then he was at the premiere.
Well, let me think. So he went to Epcot with Paula Abdul, and then Paula Abdul took him with her VIP tour to all the parks. Mm-hmm. And then on another day, Paula Abdul took JoJo to Universal Studios Orlando, and I was very shocked at this at first. And then how did this happen? And Paula Abdul saw JoJo on TikTok, and I guess because he's a dancer and she's a dancer, I don't know, but she had her people contact JoJo to spend a few days with her at Walt Disney World and at Universal Studios. And I think when none of the vloggers have had someone at that level vlogging with them.
A celebrity, no.
Not a celebrity.
Never.
Certainly not at that level.
No.
You know, I've never seen any of the vloggers from the theme parks, any of the theme parks have a celebrity like Paula Abdul with them. And I think that freaked out a lot of the vloggers, in particular,
well,
Prince Charming
Dev.
TikTok.
Because, and then he went to Disneyland and was at the premiere with The Rock.
Well, yeah, and JoJo had connected through this Paula Abdul. He had connected with someone on TikTok who has over 4 million followers on TikTok, and JoJo got a comped whole trip out to California for Disneyland and everything, and he exploded so much. I think some of the Disney vloggers are like, "Whoa, what happened here?" So they're trying to get in on this TikTok. Even Disney Food Blog and others are on.
They're all on TikTok.
Paige and Mr. Morrow's on TikTok.
When
now.
we first started watching vloggers, not right away, but after a year or so, some of the top vloggers, I had contacted Disney, and they told me when you reach 30,000 subs on YouTube is when they start inviting you to media events. That was the number. Because I asked them, what's the number of subs? I was just curious. They said 30,000 on YouTube. And then they start inviting you to media events. And I remember when we first started watching, they would always have media events, and a lot of people would be invited. And then Michael Kay started getting invited, Prince Charming Dev, Tim Tracker, and they would go to these media events ahead of time. I haven't seen that happening in a long time.
We don't know if it's because of the pandemic.
Well, but they invited JoJo, and he's on TikTok. He was at the Disneyland, and now he's on a cruise for Disney
and
World.
And JoJo was on Pirates of the Caribbean with John Stamos at Disneyland.
Yeah, so I think as far as Disney vloggers, he's the top TikTok guy. JoJo is the top TikTok.
Yeah.
And he is blazing that trail as to where Tim Tracker blazed the trail on YouTube. Resort TV One blazed the trail on live streaming. You have JoJo now, who's getting everybody to join TikTok, because I think Disney is going after the TikTokers more than the vloggers.
Well,
I could be wrong, but that's how I see it right now.
Disney has an official TikTok, Disney Parks, and they are very into that. They put up a ton of content on the Disney Parks TikTok. They put things up on YouTube, but whoever is running their PR thing is someone that's more of a TikToker than they are a YouTuber.
Seems to be where it's at right now. So.
Well, that's where people. So there's a lot of there's a lot of paranoia going. But I'll tell you this, okay? The thing with the vloggers, it's amazing that the vloggers and live streamers, so many of them are still doing it after the parks were shut down, and then they reopen, and still though it's hard to get in. There's not a lot going on, and they all stuck with it. You know, they didn't. The Disneyland vloggers,
they did.
We do watch,
and that was not easy to do.
No,
I'm sure.
The Disneyland vloggers, though, I've noticed now Disneyland was closed for a long time. Here in Florida, we were only closed for a few months.
Yeah,
but Disneyland just recently reopened. They were closed for
a year. Yeah, we were only closed for 3 or 4 months.
And I have noticed there's a lot of the Disneyland vloggers gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's not as many as there used to be. Some of them of the bigger ones have made it back, but I'm not seeing nearly as many Disneyland vloggers as I used to compared to before. A lot of them didn't make it. So the Disney vloggers and live streamers, more of them seem to have survived the pandemic
and it's
than
hard.
The Disneyland ones.
It's, for me, live streaming has its challenges and vlogging has its challenges. So my question to the audience is, who does Disney better? What's your opinion on this? But I think with vlogging, it's easier. I don't know if it's easier, but I think more people walk away from that than live streaming. Live streaming, it's like you're going to the park anyway, so I might as well live stream and bring people with me and get some views and maybe make a little extra money, get some super chats if I can, and this and that, and I'm going to the park, so why not? Vlogging is, you go, you film, you edit, you upload, and it's really frustrating. We know people that vlog, and they a few people that have stopped. I don't know if it's for permanent or whatever, but they kind of stopped because they just weren't getting a lot of views.
Yeah.
And it's hard to justify that. And when you have other things going on in your life, when you have a job and kids and family, it's like it takes a back burner because you're like, I know one vlogger, I'm not going to say who I used to watch her vlogs all the time, and I really enjoyed it. And she really has pretty much stopped, and she's moving on. I think she's got a new boyfriend. I see her on Instagram, and she's just getting on with life. I'm not saying she's never going to vlog again, but she's not doing it nearly as much as she was. So things do happen, and after a while, you're like, well, why am I still doing this if I'm only getting a couple hundred views? I got to do other things with my time.
Another thing with the live streamers, when people are live streaming, I can think of 3 incidents just off the top of my head without even thinking hard, where live streamers have had arguments with other guests in the parks during the live stream.
I've seen that.
Because
things happen in real time. It's a little exciting.
Well, what happens when people are live streaming, they're always talking. And sometimes loud, and they got the phone on. And sometimes other guests get annoyed.
Well, and people don't like to be filmed live on camera either.
And I've seen 3 times where live streamers have gotten into confrontations.
Yeah, I can think of 2.
That with other guests, and I'm like, oh, they're going to get in trouble. They're not going to see their stream anymore. And they're all still streaming. But live streaming, a lot of time, vlogging is more on the down low.
And it's more controlled,
When you see the live streamers in the parks, you can see them a mile away because they all got a rig because they got to have their phone in something because they can't just hold it in their hand the whole time, and there's a whole thing going on.
And they're talking to their phone. And
they're talking all the time. So they're talking in line, except on the rides. But even on the rides, sometimes the light because most people are live streaming for the most part on their cell phones. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they'll have a camera. Like Spokesman has a camera. I've seen him in the park with both his phone, and he's got a camera that I don't know what kind of camera it is, but he live streams off like a camera too sometimes. But they're always talking, and sometimes if they're on the phone, the light from the phone will still be on, and people get angry sometimes.
They get annoyed a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of people don't like to be broadcasted live on somebody's channel.
Yeah.
Which I can understand if you have children, especially, and somebody's got their camera and you're in their view and they're filming, but you're in a public place. There's nothing you can do. I mean, there's a million people. How many people back in the day took pictures and you were in their family pictures? I mean, that's the way it goes. There's no way around that. So if you go to the park, expect to be on somebody's live stream or in somebody's vlog or something. It's going to happen. But, I feel that when people attack the top level people, it's pure jealousy and bitterness.
Or frustration.
Yes, because they're not growing at that level as others. And I think you're right. With TikTok, JoJo kind of very slyly crept up really fast on TikTok. He does dances and he's like very much into it. And nobody else was getting on that platform. And all of a sudden, he's at like 860,000 subs, and he's hanging out with Paula Abdul and John Stamos and going on getting comped everywhere. And I think they're like, you know what? Disney's not calling me. I got to get on TikTok.
Why is he getting comped on the Disney cruise?
Right.
And I'm not. I can understand that. Yeah. So I I have sympathy for the live streamers. I have sympathy for the vloggers and all the main ones that
none of it's easy.
That we're talking about are
they make it look easy, but it's
not.
The thing I've learned through Brian's job is if somebody makes something look easy, it's because they're good at it. They're good at it, and if they make it look like anybody can do this, it's because they're good at what they're doing. And you could pretty much understand that. If somebody's not good, you'll know, and it'll be like you're trudging through it, like, oh my gosh, this is awful. But if they're good at what they do, then everybody thinks they can do it because they look like a professional at what they're doing. So I have respect for everybody.
Like a lot of times people think that the Tim Tracker is like, I hear people say this because every once in a while, if you watch enough vlogs, you'll hear people say things, they
call them the slackers.
Yeah, they call it. Yeah. They think that they're slacking. And I'll tell you this, okay? The Tim Tracker and Jen are very chill people. They're very chill when they're vlogging.
When they're vlogging, you don't know what they're like off camera.
Yeah, they're pretty chill. And
they could be very high strung. Off camera, you never know. But on camera, they seem laid back.
I don't know. But when I watch the Tim Tracker, if you think about it, it depends on why you watch vlogging. If you watch the Tim Tracker, every second that the Tim Tracker is on, he at the parks, he is giving you some type of information.
He doesn't waste time.
Something at the park that day.
He doesn't waste time.
It might be how much a hot dog is, or it might be where you can get the backside of water, or it might be something. But I don't think Tim Tracker wastes a second on his vlogs. It's always informational at every point when he's in the park. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's why a lot of people like his vlogs, because they're very concise and full of information. He seems to go with a purpose. He seems to plan it out a little bit. So I understand from a person's point of view that a vlogger does a little more cerebral thinking as far as that, and then editing. But live streaming, it might not take as much research or whatever to do it, or you might not have as much pre or post production work.
Yeah, well, there's none.
Pretty much. You go in, you turn on your camera, you live stream, and you turn it off. I understand what this one person was saying, but it's very physical in the moment. You're in the moment. Yeah. Anything can happen that catches you off guard.
Yeah.
Like you said, I've seen people get in fights that are live streamers, arguments, and it can be a little risky because something can happen that could get you thrown out of the park forever.
Yeah.
So it's a little riskier for me because it is live. It's live TV, basically, and you could have 5,000-6,000 people watching you, and then like Resort TV One, some of their replays have tens of thousands of views.
So but there's some people, when you're watching vloggers, that are just because you like the personality and you watch them.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's key. I don't think you'd watch somebody you didn't like. I mean, there's people that are good vloggers.
Sometimes you watch things for information.
Yeah, but there's people that are good vloggers and have a lot of information. I'm not going to say who that does like a news type program. And I just can't stand his personality. And you watch him and I won't watch him. And I'm not talking about Braden. I'm talking about I love Braden. I'm talking about somebody else. So some people just rub you the wrong way, and you have your favorites, and that's like anything on YouTube. But it's interesting to see now. Tim Tracker is up to about 50,000 subs on TikTok. Resort TV One is just started. I think they're like at 5. I'm not sure, but I was checking. I follow them. Prince Charming Dev, they're all getting on TikTok now, but it's interesting because the power shift has changed, and now you have JoJo, who's at the top of that food chain on TikTok, and he's so far ahead of everybody. Like the trackers are at like 850,000 subs on YouTube. Yeah. They're so far ahead. Resort TV One, they're so far ahead of any other streamer. They're like at 150,000 subs.
You say that, but
then JoJo is so far ahead on TikTok. Do these people that are on these platforms, do they feel pressure like they have to catch up? Yeah. Or do they not worry about that? Do you think they feel like, well, I got to get to that level. Yes. I got to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone, the people that do it for like their primary job or a huge chunk of their job, of their income, okay? They all want to break 100,000. That's like everyone's goal. But a lot of people say, well, no one can catch up. No one can catch up. I don't know if anyone's going to catch up to the Tim Tracker because he's been vlogging for 10 years and he's way ahead. And he is likely to be the first Disney vlogger to hit 1 million subs. No Disney vlogger has yet hit 1 million subs. And sometimes I wonder, is the Disney vlogger live streams fear oversaturated with people, and then I'll find 10 more people I never heard of that have been doing it for years.
Well, he's at 860,000. So he's been lingering in the 800s for a long time, So his growth, I'm not saying it's slow, but he's still been around 8. He was like at 830 like a year ago. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like the beginning, probably where their growing was much quicker, or but they're still way far ahead of anybody else. But now JoJo is way far ahead of anybody on TikTok because he started on TikTok like a year or so ago and got the jump on that. So that's the new platform. So I would say if you're a vlogger or a live streamer, whenever there's a new platform, get on it right away because you never know how it can explode. And now Disney clearly is going after the TikTok crowd because they're comping JoJo and hooking him up with these trips. I remember when the trackers were getting cruises comped. I don't know if they still do. I haven't seen a video. They have been staying in a lot of hotels. Are they getting comped by Disney when they go?
I don't know.
They would always say before, Disney invited us. We're here, this and that. I don't know if that's still happening. But it seems like now there's a new platform that Disney is going after that crowd. So anyway, tell us what you guys think as far as vlogging, streaming. What's your personal favorite? Who is your favorite? Who do you like, streaming versus vlogging? And who do you like? Who do you watch the most on a regular basis? And do you think that vloggers have it tougher than streamers or vice versa?
Yeah.
I'm really curious.
See, I think that both of them are completely different genres, and you really shouldn't compare streamers and vloggers. That's my opinion. I think they're totally different genres.
Two different animals.
It's like comparing movie stars to stars of stage, like plays, like Broadway.
Yeah, they're both
different
in entertainment, but it's just a different area. So anyway, thanks so much, guys, for listening. We really appreciate you. Please like and subscribe. We try to put up a podcast every weekend, and we will see you guys in the parks.